return after these messages.
Hello, yes, it's me, Dreadwind. I'm back again. It's been, what, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, 6 or 7 months since I've been back. And why am I back, you ask? Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, I felt I should, but mainly number two, Jared Wolfgang put out a little video saying, where's the old guard? Where are the old guys who used to do this stuff back in 2008, 2009, 2010? Well, yeah, I admit that I've been sort of really lax, but, you know, life gets in the way and stuff, job and whatnot. But, yeah, eventually I've made it back. Because, I'll be honest, missed it, frankly. But there have been a few changes. And then back to the 80s, the podcast still going strong. In fact, stronger than ever before. We have 4 presenters on that show. This little show that me and Jeremy put out years and years ago now. 3 years this thing's been going. This little tiny podcast we never thought would amount to anything. Well, it's still going, you know. And we have myself, Phil, obviously. Jai has joined the team in the past year or so. And over a year now, I think, actually. So he's part of the furniture, is Jai, these days. And, of course, the lovely Becca has joined us in the last couple of months or so. So, yeah, we have quite a few presenters on that show now. So it doesn't matter if one of us goes on holiday, which is, you know, to be fair, the reason I did it. I'm lying. So really enjoying that. It seems to be going from strength to strength. I'm very, very proud of that podcast and of the people who are on it. So we're doing very, very well. So what's going on now? Well, videos. I'm bringing back JoeTube and TVTF. You will have noticed the brand new titles because I felt that the old Back to the 80s one that Cobra Commander TFW did, still great, still keeping that. Don't get me wrong, it's brilliant. It's just a little bit out of date. It's been like 2 years nearly since Jeremy's been a regular part of the podcast. And I think it's a bit odd to keep using it, quite frankly. But I say, appreciate Cobra Commander TFW doing that. Go watch his videos because they're really rather good. He's doing a big set on Creo at the moment, the Transformers Creons, which is really, really cool. So yeah, appreciate that he did that for us. But sadly, really out of date now. So I thought, well, let's go back to basics. Let's not mess around anymore. And like you see there, just American flag with JoeTube on it now. I think that's about as technical as it gets. Also, got rid of the little intros I used to do because while it worked for my Doctor Who videos, I kind of feel like it was just padding for any other videos, and I didn't really need to do it, and it might have turned people off watching it because if they're thinking, oh god, when's this thing actually going to start, when are we going to see this ball bag? So yeah, that's gone, as are the credits. I kind of feel like I was trying to be like Linkara and Spoonie and all that, and frankly, I'm not Linkara, I'm not Spoonie. I don't know whether they get paid a lot of money for what they do, but they're very technically good, and I'm not, frankly. I'm a ball bag who sits in an attic that he calls the man cave in front of his toys and craps on about toys. So, that's gone. I'm not a professional, in no way am I a professional. Plus, it takes a long time to sort of do that a lot. If I want to make more videos, then I don't want it to take I don't want it to take longer than it should, frankly. So, yeah, gone are the lengthy, padded out, unneeded intros. We'll stick to something a little bit sharper, crisper, and quite frankly doesn't waste as much of your time, because I would like people to watch this stuff ultimately. So I'm going to go with Transformers and G.I. Joe because they're the two things that I'm mostly into. There might be other things that I crap on about, but I think really as a general rule, that might be the two. Another announcement, and this might come as a shock to people, I might not be going to Auto Assembly this year. There's a reason for this. Number one, I might be wanting to go to New York at some point in the near future. So, obviously, that costs money. Number two, I wouldn't mind going to Roll Out Roll Call this year. I can't do both. Because, you know, I have pills to pay. Well, I have those as well. But I have bills to pay. So quite frankly, you know, I've got to make a decision. And while I love Auto Assembly dearly, and I love everybody who goes to Auto Assembly dearly, at the end of the day, I've never been to Rollout Roll Call. I've never spent much time with those guys as I have with the Auto Assembly guys. And, you know, as I love G.I. Joe and Transformers sort of equally, I thought it might be a good idea to do that this year. So, Mr. David Tree, your wish will be granted, because it looks like I'll be going to Southampton this year. It'll be fun. I mean, half the Transformers guys who go to Auto Assembly go to Rollout Roll Call anyway. So, plus I think it'd be good to, because obviously it's a fledgling con, is Rollout Roll Call. So I think it'd be a good idea to sort of go there as well. Sort of support that as much as I do Auto Assembly. And I've been to Auto Assembly the past 4 or 5 years now. So it's not like I'm sort of doing Auto Assembly disservice by not going. But there you go. There it is. I've said it now. It's official. I was going to say it on the podcast this week, but quite frankly, I forgot. So when are you announcing Rollout Roll Call, Dave? Because I don't know when I'm going to this thing. But I would like to. I would very much like to. That's the AOB out of the way. Now on to the main event. Well, it said on the start of the video there what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at one of my favourite Cobra vehicles, even though it's tiny, it's kind of cheap, and it's definitely ridiculous. And it is, of course, the Trouble Bubble. Now, the Trouble Bubble, or the Cobra Escape Pod, as it should be called, really, more denizen of the cartoons than the comic books, really. It did appear in the comic books, albeit briefly, as far as I can tell. I've not read all of the comic books yet. I do have them, and I am making my way through them, but there's 152 of the buggers, so it's hard going, considering I've got all of the Deke G.I. Joe series to watch as well. I've only got so many hours in the day. Most of those I work. So, yeah, the Trouble Bubble more a creation and more utilised in the cartoons, really, by Cobra Commander and Destro, that lot mainly, the officers, and occasionally the Joes when they can nick a couple of them. And they are really used exactly for what their name implies. They are used to escape, generally by Cobra Commander, generally at the end of an episode when he's saying Cobra retreat, retreat, a lot. Which is why they were used in the G.I. Joe the movie, or G.I. Joe the musical opening, where, you know, basically that's how Cobra Commander and the rest are escaping in the escape pods, or the Trouble Bubbles. But Trouble Bubble sounds silly. But it is a silly vehicle. It's an immensely silly vehicle. Hasbro have been a bit canny with this version, though, because it can be used for both the 25th anniversary toys, for which it is, or the original Real American Hero line. It comes packaged with the Ram Cycle. So you get this and the Tele-Viper and the Ram Cycle and Breaker. And of course, I will have a look at the Ram Cycle latterly, because it is awesome. It's a great little vehicle. This kind of edges it out because it's Cobra, and Cobra are awesome, as we all know. Now then, we'll take the Tele-Viper out, because we'll have a look at him in a little while. He is awesome. I do like Tele-Viper a lot. And here we come with the first major problem. It gets stuck in the old backpack hook thing that they give you. But here we go. Trouble Bubble. Essentially exactly the same as the Real American Hero line. It's got a nice dome top there. Clear plastic. It's got the white plastic and the grey. For the seat, for the handle, for the gun. Lots of nice little stickers. I do like them. Lots of nice Cobra symbols. You always know a vehicle's going to be good when it's got a lot of Cobra symbols on. Now, I haven't got the great missiles on there. They are somewhere. I do have them, but I don't tend to display missiles and things if I can help it, because they just end up getting lost. What I do like, you've got the little propulsion unit there, and it can steer and swerve. Sadly, it's not connected up to anything. It's just there if you want to use it. But I do like that. It's a nice little touch, so it can go that way or that way. It's very nice. It also comes off, so be careful. I mean, it does tend to stay on really rather well. Hasbro done quite a good job with this. Love the dome. Think the dome's great. Do love the fact that it's clear plastic. Always was. Always should be, because it is, after all, a windshield. But it looks like one of those things that old ladies dry their hair in. I always get the feeling Cobra Commander or the Baroness is doing that, where they get the blue rins. The gun at the bottom there does turn. Sadly, again, not connected up to anything. Or mine doesn't seem to be anyway. But you've got to be careful, because obviously you've got the little ammo pipes there for the lasers. Because obviously it's all lasers, no actual weapons in G.I. Joe in this era. Turns around really rather nicely. And you do have the steering column there for when you want to steer. Now, the little clever thing that I was talking about, the original of this toy in the seat had a post where you could clip in to the back for the Real American Hero figures. Now, in the 25th line, they actually gave you a hook. I suppose you could call that a hook or a grab. So you can actually use both Real American Hero characters and 25th anniversary in there as well, which I think is really, really cool. It allows you to buy 25th anniversary vehicles and still have them to be compatible with your Real American Hero line stuff. It's quite a nice touch by Hasbro. You know, Hasbro get a lot of flack sometimes for sort of stiffing the fans or not doing very good fan service. You know, things of that nature. Hasbro, a money grabbing company, they're only interested in making money. Duh. But that's a nice touch. See, it is cross-compatible. It's not a word you will hear very, very often with G.I. Joe stuff. But, moving on from the Trouble Bubble, because that's pretty much all that done, we have Tele-Viper to have a look at. Tele-Viper and his wacky arms, which I shall go on about in a second. Now, Tele-Vipers were essentially the royal signals of Cobra. And anytime anybody wanted to send a message to Cobra Command from the battlefield, that's the person they go to, is the Tele-Viper Corps. Because they are part of a Corps. And they did appear, I can't remember, they did appear in the first season very briefly and pretty much at the end. And then the second season they were there quite a bit. Very cool characters, never really did anything, but it's always fun to see them pop up, because you know full well you're going to get something funny on their visors, because they communicated. I don't think anyone ever spoke in any season of the show, but across their visors they would have messages like ouch, or get me out of here, or yag, or something like that. Something, a nice little cutaway joke to a situation that was happening. So if they were in trouble, it would say across they were in trouble. I think one got punched out and he said ouch across the visor, which I think is kind of goofy and at the same time really, really cool, because that's the Sunbow cartoon. Kind of goofy, but really, really cool. Now then, the figure in 86 was pretty cool as well. I think it was pre-86 actually. The Real American Hero figure, really, really cool. The 25th anniversary line, somewhat cool. The main body of it is fantastic. I like it. I like the head sculpt. The head sculpt is really cool. Where it breaks down is the fact that it does have the goofy, weird, derpy Cobra arms. Cobra Viper arms, should I say. Which are fine if you're holding a gun. If you want the figure to hold a gun, that's fine. Otherwise, it just doesn't look right. They're weird. The wrists look like they're breaking. He looks like he's got lockjaw. It doesn't look right. If you can see they're sort of, they're not, they're weird. They're odd. They don't work. They're okay when he's sitting down using the vehicle, but you can't stand this guy up and have him in a pose which looks anything other than the fact that he's having a nervous breakdown of some sort. Not good, and it's a shame, because the head sculpt of this thing is really cool. And I like the little accessory he got of the vest there, and the colours of the guy are cool. And he's got the weird, derpy Cobra Viper legs as well. The ankles aren't great. And he's got all the articulation you should want. Obviously, he swivels at the arms. He's got the biceps. He's got the forearm turn there. He's got 360 on his head, but again, why would you want to do that? He's got the crunch there, because obviously he's a no ring construction, and he's got all the articulation in the legs that you would want, but the ankles are a bit a bit moribund, and the arms are definitely, they're just a bit weird. But all this is kind of forgotten when he goes in the vehicle. All you have to do is put the steering column down, and you just set him in there, really. He snaps in really easily. It's getting him out that's the problem. So he snaps in really easily. And then the arms actually do a good job. I mean, I feel a bit bad slagging the arms off, really, because they are fit for the purpose that they're meant for. They actually do work rather well. But it's just, you can only really ever have him in the trouble bubble, because otherwise he looks like a twat. And this, obviously, you know, that's ironic coming from me, but he does hold the thing really rather well. He says, trying to get him to hold it really rather well. There you go. I mean, he looks good in there. He does look really rather good. I really do like the fact that the arms kind of work when he's sitting down. But otherwise, terrible, awful, just shite. But it's a failing of the 25th line that the Cobra Viper arms weren't very good. I mean, everybody knows it by this point. Any sort of G.I. Joe fan. I mean, overall, nothing wrong with this at all. It's just the one little last fall at the hurdle that Hasbro made with the Tele-Viper figure. But the Trouble Bubble itself, awesome. For being the little tiny vehicle that it is, it works really, really well. Love it, love it, love it. Tele-Viper, perfect apart from the arms. The Cobra, them damn Cobra Viper arms, they're just not very good. They're worse than Duke arms. And the Duke arms are bloody terrible, as everybody knows. But that's my return over. That's the first video under the belt. There shall be more. I shall do a Transformers one next at some point in the next couple of weeks, I would have thought. I would have thought one every 2 weeks, probably. That's a good way of doing it, isn't it? Or maybe one every week if I can get away with it. Obviously, schedules permitting. But very, very glad to be here. Listen to Back to the 80s. Watch this video numerous times. I shall be putting these on YouTube as well as Blip TV. So you have a choice of where you want to watch them. Whichever gets the most views is probably the one I shall stick with. I've been Dreadwind, and thank you very much. One last thing. Do you think you can have Hubba Bubble Trouble Bubble?